experience with you from my youth. I was born in the deep south, where the soil is nutrient rich and this ubiquitous relationship to nature was ever present. It was present in the conversations that we had at the general store after church on Sunday morning. And this experience of nature is like life. We have seasons. We have these seasons that change, this constant change that's always with us. It shapes our experience. We have an opportunity to have love if we allow it into our hearts. My start begins in my spring and summer of my life, where I was nurturing my soul's garden. My soul's garden was developed when I met my best friend, Derek Delapaz, in elementary school. I met him in grade school. This was Glen Archer Elementary in Key West, Florida. And we immediately were connected as friends. We had this collective experience, this memory of the flight, of witnessing the flight of a perfect paper airplane gliding through the sky. Imagine that you are sitting in grade school with your best friend, folding a piece of paper, creating a paper plane. You're creasing the lines of this plane ever so gently, with care and attention. You look at this plane and you're so excited you have to sneak out of the class to test this plane. So you get out into the hallway and you launch this plane. It's as if God's wind lifts this plane into the air and glides it in slow motion through the dusty recesses of my mind. As it picks up brilliant light from the window, it lands on the other side of this hallway, ever so softly as a feather. What experiences do you have as a child that shaped you? We all have these experiences. We don't know the impact until later into our lives. My best friend and I had collective attachments and a philosophy of life where we were able to finish each other's sentences. He was my best friend. We took this friendship into our adolescent years, and we became very connected. I told him I loved you, you're my best friend. And then as we moved through our 20s, I got a phone call one morning. And on the other end of that phone, I answered, "Hello?" My friend from childhood says, "Are you sitting down? Your best friend has died of a drug overdose yesterday." I said, "What? This is impossible. You're lying." I hang up the phone. I take in this knowledge. I burst out of my door, unable to process this information completely. I'm fearful. I take this panic and fear with me for weeks, which turn into months, and years of covert depression. This is the autumn for me, when my leaves begin to shed and my spirit begins to fade. I notice that the ground that I'm standing in becomes toxic. I begin to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol to reduce my heart palpitations, cold sweats, racing thoughts. I move on to the winter of this experience, and it's cold. My ground is frigid. And I understand in this moment that I have to do something. I'm going to survive this. So I decide in that moment to place a seed of hope in my soul's garden. This audacity of hope, this dream for my next season to be brighter is placed, and I begin to nurture this with self-talk, affirmations. My best friend's voice becomes my own voice, and he begins to speak and sow seeds of greatness into my life more than I ever thought possible. My land begins to change. The meditation that I use to nurture this garden begins to develop buds and seedlings that grow into saplings, into this tree of my understanding that I need to move to this place in my life, so I lift my branches higher. I decide to look at my life as a spectrum of light in a timeline, and I notice all the moments of my life with the greatest significance were the ones of empathy, love, caring. The great Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu states, "The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long." My friend lived half of the time I've been here. But you know what? The flame of love is eternal. It never ends. The great author Thornton Wilder wrote a book, The Bridge of San Luis Rey, where he states, There's a land of the living and a land of the dead. And there's a bridge of love, the only survival, the only meaning. So I ask you, what is your bridge of love in the present? What can you do to pour life into your friends and loved ones? My bridge is this paper airplane. As it soars magnificently upon my life's experiences and lands at the other end, I see it's caught by my best friend. I realize in that moment, nurturing our soul's garden is the reason, the only meaning.